Uran getting looked after by Cannondale. On the left-hand side, we see Sky coming up to the front of the peloton. In the blue, just behind them, in the white, with Alaphilippe, Quick-Step Floors, Luis Lee and Sanchez trying to look after the Italian champion. So it's kind of full gas. This is a full lead out to the bottom of the climb.
Here we are. That's Wobble Cam, as you can see. Geske and Tom Dumoulin, and I just don't think it was ever going to be his day. He was on water carrying duties. Now it's a chat about beards and whether they should be made illegal or not.
I still think he's going to have an opportunity on Saturday. So I just think keeping his powder dry a little bit. He's done his work. He's had a good hit out. We've now turned left onto the climb now. Well, the four riders of original breakaway, but 30 seconds behind. They're looking behind. The peloton will be on them.
They know they're coming. I tell you what, Karl Lauk, nearest to us here, the young Estonian, he's only 20 years of age. He is a brick. Fantastic. It fits in the road race and in the individual time trials for the nationals. Here's the big squeeze we were telling you about. We said possibly 4 wide on this road. It gets even narrower than that, and that's just about what we've got as 2 lanes to play with, maybe a little bit more generous than that, but it does narrow up as we get towards the top. Indeed, the transition area. Sky represented here. Just about all the main players indeed have an option, and that's precisely what you want. And Egan Bernal's boys, Androni Zajdemek, also making a nuisance of themselves, coming up dead centre in the red. Don't be surprised if we have a surprise. 22 seconds then, and the incline starting to hurt.
Yeah, already the breakaway are down to 2 riders. So you got Bonifond in the red, and in the green you've got Andretta and for Bardiani. So kind of pushing on a little bit. They started the climb with 33 seconds. It's already down to 25 seconds, but the peloton just pushing for position more than anything. I don't think they'll be racing for the time being. It's all about position, and we'll have to kind of wait and see who decides to take it on.
Yes, indeed. Gregory Rast, whose frame is really not built for this sort of thing, first to go from the break, shortly after joined by Karl Lauk. As pushing on were Bonifond of Cofidis and indeed Simone Andrietta of Bardiani. Let's have a look here. Someone getting a bit sketchy on the tram lines and painted road surface. Yeah. Got away with it.
He did, and you know, these professional riders very good at handling their bikes. Just went into that corner ever so slightly fast and overcooked it, but was astute enough to hit the brakes at the right time and obviously stay upright.
Went speedway styly. Easy to pick up a puncture after a long day, and it is a long route yet again here, Brian. They're not short distances, these. 186 Ks after 193 2 days ago.
No, the good, nice distances. You know, I think the longest was on Sunday there. I think over 220 kilometres. But these are a good hard races. It's been fast. It's been over 43 kilometres an hour to the bottom of this climb, and you know, it's 186 kilometres in total length. So we're going to see some good attacking racing now. We're on to the hardest part of the course.
Well, it's a Quintana, but it's dire at the moment. Not the effort.
No, it's good. It's not dire.
Dyer. I mean to say not Dyer. Dyer it is that pushes on. He's first to find the now stricken Karl Lauk of Estonia. And indeed, it's time to dig in.
Yeah, Movistar, we were speculating what they're going to do today. And just look as if they want to try and attack this course. And some riders going with them. But Dear Quintana is the first rider to strike out from the peloton.
A bit more data for you, as you can see. BPMs, that's heart rate for Damiano Cunego. Dan Martin down to 20 kilometres now. That tells you exactly what sort of inclines we are dealing with. Dan just not at the point just for the time being. Taking over that duty is Diego Rosa, who pushes on, just trying to keep tabs on these guys who've had an early roll of the dice, but nothing more than that. And as you can see, these inclines, Brian, they are wicked, and indeed maxing at 14% along the way, and for a goodly margin of it as well.
Yeah, it's a hard climb, 4.9 kilometres in length, and already they're attacking from the bottom. They were with Deir Quintana. Damien Howson up there for Orica Scott. Bilbao decides to have a look at this for Astana, and you know, all it is you know, some attacks, but it's interesting to see that it was in fact Team Sky Diego Rosa trying to control things. He's a previous winner of this race, and he's up near the front for Sky, just kind of controlling things, making sure no danger riders go up the roads.
Well, for the time being, it's a line of potential breakaway time that we've got here right now. This is the chasing group. There's only 15 seconds, I should say, to those further up the road. They're still wrestling with it. This is Bonifant, checks over his shoulder, sees how much of a gap he's got left. No combativity award, I'm afraid, here today, but there's bragging rights, let's put it that way. 22.1 kilometres. We're soon going to get to our transition point, Brian, where instead of going up to the Basilica, we come down off the mountain and go round again. Yeah,
still 2.5 kilometres to go to that point, and we're still seeing Movistar, probably the most aggressive team on this climb so far, as many riders are just kind of following, because this is the sorting out. This time up, it'll sort things out, and there'll be a smaller group at the top. But the next time up, it'll be the race winners that will come to the fore.
Real thinning out going on at the moment. Looking back within this group, in about 20th place is Dan Martin, who's pacing himself rather nicely. Julian Alaphilippe is over on the right-hand side of the road. From this view, you'll see Dan Martin. There he is. In fact, he's moving up nicely. If you drew lines across the road, he'd probably be in about 7th row at the moment. But Dan Martin's looking... I can never really read Dan Martin. He's very difficult to, because he often looks terrible, even when he's at his very best.
It's quite easy. It's just DAN.
Thanks. You know what I mean.
Philip Gilbert just been dropped in the blue, just in the left-hand side for Quick Step Floors, but still back at the front. Bernal there for Androni in the reds. Aru third a couple of years ago, looking good, but as we said, this peloton starting to shed a lot of riders at the back.
Here we go then. Time to move yourself into position if you want to keep tabs on what's going to be going on in front of you. Egan Bernal is signed, by the way, for Team Sky. I think they're just hoping that he gets through everything nice and safely, but he can't help but chomp at the bit. There's Alaphilippe next to Quintana, as you can see, just rocking and rolling through the rear of this front group right now, and just getting themselves into position. Dan Martin on the white line. In fact, right now he's probably in about position 10, just to the left of Fabio Aru in the Italian tricolour. Dan Martin clearly is hyper motivated today. I'm just looking at Pinot. Looks like he's labouring just a little bit on these inclines. That's not good news for the Frenchman. We'll see. He's one of those riders that tends to display his discomfort even when he's not that uncomfortable. But Francis de Joux kind of looking around at the moment, trying to trace where their man might or might not be. I think they may well have lost out. Time to go.
Yeah, again, it's Movistar coming towards the front there with Victor de la Part. But Diego Rosa straight on it, just behind Astana there with Luis Leon Sanchez. So a lot of the strong riders starting to come towards the front of the peloton now. But Movistar have really kind of taken this on from the bottom of this climb.
You know, strategy-wise, you've got to choose your moment. That's obvious, but you've also got to be adaptable. And this race begs adaptation. And there's Diego Rosa saying, look, I'm feeling strong. Where are you? Shall I? Will I? It's one of those times where, frankly, you may well be called on just to go for it, and someone like Diego Rosa can deliver this.
Yeah, it's about 1,800 metres until we take the top of this climb. Just saying, Primož Roglic is up there with Lotto in the yellow, right next to the Italian champion. But at the front, it's still Diego Rosa. Just behind, you get Victor de la Part, and then you've got Luis Leon Sanchez, Cataldo right up there. I think it's Brambilla. For Quick Step Floors towards the front as well, and then another couple of riders from Movistar, including Nairo Quintana.
Alaphilippe's on a move, so they clearly, I think, are wise to what's going on right here. Well, frankly, there are a number of options for teams such as Movistar. We said Quintana, and we mentioned winner Anacona, who you're looking at right now, and he's decided that a bit of pace is required. Rosa's marking him out, and Pello Bilbao decides to stay close at hand as well. Julian Alaphilippe almost instinctively knew that this was going to be that kind of moment. He's missed out on it just for the time being. We'll see how this trio managed to make an account of themselves. Winner Anacona has been nothing other than a super domestique for the likes of Quintana throughout the early part of the season. He's worked extraordinarily hard. Likewise for AG2 Le Mondial, it's one of our favourites, Brian.
Yes, Latour just coming across the gap now. He's already showed some form over the last few days. So a real interesting group starting to go away. But really interesting to see that Movistar started by going on the attack with Dare Quintana. Then Victor Tillapart took it up, and now Winner Anacona. So they look as if they want to try and split this race up.
That looked like Dan Martin, who was finally trying to bridge over there. It had been Alaphilippe, but the legs, I think, possibly said no. David Gowdy. Well, will he put on a show today? This is part of exactly that. I expect him to go extremely long if he's going to have a chance, and that's precisely what he's doing. Thibaut Pinot did not look up for it, which allows Gowdy to have his fun. Pierre Latour, who was very, very busy in the Tre Valley, is there. I think it was Rain Taramé that tried to get over to them as well. And I believe that is Dan Martin who's chugging away, trying to get into position, just ahead of Julian Alaphilippe, who started off a move to try and bridge to these guys, but that has been picked up work rate wise now by Dan Martin, who doesn't want to miss this one. There's an alarm bell going off, and Dan's hearing it.
Yeah, I don't think he's attacking hard to come across this gap. He's just passing Taramé from Katusha, who chipped across to this move and then get dropped. But Winner Anacona still wanted to push this on from the front. Interesting times, but I don't think Dan Martin is full gas. He's just obviously just tagging back slowly but surely the riders in front.
Kenny Anasonta just here in front of Cohen Baumann of Lotto Jumbo. A lot of tired legs out there, and Diego Rosa is not one of them. He's clearly, well, he's either going all in early, or indeed he's got ideas here. He was on the radio before, and wow, the rolling punches, the rolling attacks of quick-step floors, and Julian Alaphilippe it is that takes it on. He can descend, he can climb, and at moments like this, he's got an ability to set a tempo up inclines that others would shy at.
Yeah, just about 600 metres to go to the top of this climb, and now Alaphilippe comes at the right time. It was good work there for Dan Martin. He was just trying to keep the attacking riders at bay, and then they almost came back, and Alaphilippe said, well, thanks Dan, but see you later.
It looks like he's on his own Sunday afternoon ride right now. Afternoon sunshine, low frequency light, but this man in the spotlight, and look at that, nobody minded to go with him. I think Latour probably would have done if he'd had the legs. He was so busy on the Tre Valley. Alaphilippe, well, it's about biding your time, and a couple of days ago just kept something back. There's the Flamme Rouge, as it will be next time by. So on the left-hand side of the road, so right-hand side as you look at it, I hope they're going to do us the favour of actually showing, free pair of spectacles for somebody. That was rather nice.
That was his PR man, Alessandro.
Was it? Well, there we are. I think this is Rain Taramé who's just having a dig. He has been doing this. Good time trialist as well, Rain Taramé. We'll see what his descending skills are like. We know about Alaphilippe. He can go, and Latour spins it up as well. Just joining him is Diego Rosa as he tucks in on that side of the road. This is getting busy, and nobody busier than this man. So I'll be coming by here. I think you may well see the transition. Sometimes the camera just loops towards the left where we head up towards the Basilica, and it looks like they're doing their own crowd control here with the motorcycle and the camera. So in front of Alaphilippe, offering up potentially a little bit of accidental automotive assistance right now. This is the point where we would take a left-hander. He's going to come over the crest and basically take on the loop again. 19.4 kilometres, though. That's a hell of an ask.
It is. Taramé just coming up to the top of the climb now. Still a large group behind, including the Italian champion, Aru, but it's really split up now. And only about, 20-25 riders left at the front of this race. Yeah, and
notably, Thibaut Pinot has recovered and he's back in with that group. David Godot, I think, will be the choice for Francis Dejeux, is also within that group. So within that 22 from Francis Dejeux, and of course 2 from Quick-Step as well. There is Alaphilippe. What's happened? He just wants some feeling back in his hands. Is it chilly?
No, sometimes your
just
hands,
gripping the bars,
gripping the bars. Yeah,
yeah,
you've been gripping the bars all day, and sometimes they go a little bit kind of numb.
There we are. So a little bit of thumb cramp, essentially. Alaphilippe down the descent right now. Blood back where it needs to be. Rush of blood to the head, maybe, on this attack.
Well, I think
he can deliver.
Really,
he's done it before.
A really hard attack. He's done this before many times, but just kind of kicking back a little bit because he's still a long way to go, and he knows that he's got the form to possibly win that. On that attack, looking at it, I know everybody behind, like Aru and various other Pinot, maybe not full gas, they're thinking the last time up. But as you say, maybe a bit of rush of the bloods, feel good, bang an attack, finds himself on his own and doesn't want to commit himself, because if he saves energy for the last time up, on that sort of form, he could be winning this race.
He could. Just seeing what he was saying on the radio, obviously no fear of the cameras here, and it being shared with just about everybody. And just look at the way this man descends. It's almost devil-may-care. It's a joy to watch. He can get unstuck on occasion, but he's a good bike handler, Julien Alaphilippe. Once saw him picked up by a gust of wind and hurled into a mountainside, but no wind here today, as you can see from the tops of the trees, save for that being generated by the helicopter. And it's all a French raiding party yet again. They just want to have some fun here, and they're doing exactly that. Not Delatour this time by at Chirel, also involved. And here's Alaphilippe at his absolute best. At moments like this, he's precocious, he's a showman. A lot of people say he's the new Vaucler.
Do they?
Yep.
Oh, I thought he was a totally different rider to Vaucler, but certainly...
no, in terms of his showboating, housewife's favourite and all that.
Okay.
Prepared to go for it, is what I mean.
Yeah, no, he's an attacking rider. We've seen that in the World Championship, we've seen that in many other races. And certainly now, the way he attacked there, no one else could go with him. And, you know, now he's in a situation with 17 kilometres to go. Does he keep this effort up and you know, get caught? Because you got to remember, there will be a regrouping behind, and some of the teams will start chasing him down. And if he wastes that energy to the bottom of the climb again, then he could be losing this race. From what I see now, you've got Sky chasing, you'll get Astana chasing, you've got AG2R chasing as well. So they'll chase him down. All the time Alaphilippe is in front, he's using up his energy. Okay, it's good for Dan Martin. Dan Martin can sit in this group and you know, try and win the race. But from what I can see now, Alaphilippe has just showed that he is a real force to be reckoned with today. And it does look as if initially I thought he was waiting, then he pushed on a little bit, and I think he's waiting again.
His problem was, you go into a little dish here on the top of the mountain as you're coming down. He's now gone over the lip, and now he's got some serious descending. I think he'll be okay in his own mind's eye right now with his position. That's if he can get around this motorcycle, which is making a real nuisance of himself. Hug the line that the rider wanted. He went too wide. Get out of there. Alaphilippe is all over the place as a result. The motorcycle really is in a bad place. Unclips as he tried to counterbalance himself with his own leg here. Checking behind himself because there's no gaps on display. And he's basically telling them right now, get out of here. Just get lost. You're making a real nuisance of my lines. And he's absolutely right.
Yeah, you just said it, nailing the head. He's the motorbike getting in the way, and he's trying to push the motorbike out the way so you can see the roads in front of him. Sometimes when you come down a descent like this, you're looking behind, and if you've got a motorbike in front, you have to try and kind of pick your own lines. But I just don't think he's full concentrating at the moment. He's not full gas. He's kind of half waiting, but on a descent like this, he's just... you know, obviously going through the motions around these corners, and he wants to try and stay upright with this motorbike in front of him.
Yeah, exactly. Just get your backside and that motorcycle away so that I can see the road in front. Good descenders look very much further down the road than where they happen to be at any one time. They preset themselves almost naturally, Brian, into some of the curves. And if your vision's hampered by somebody filming you in a very incongruous way, this is a better way to film from behind, letting the riders do what they want. Yeah,
exactly. And obviously you've got the helicopter shots as well. But you know, very dangerous descents, and normally in the radios and things like that, it's you know, radio silence, because anything can happen in a descent. Very dangerous times, and you try and become as silent as possible just in case anything happens. But Alaphilippe has got a big choice at the moment, and okay, he's already attacked. He's just gone down the descent. I still don't think he's giving 100% at the moment. But he's just kind of chipping away, keeping the gears down, and this is probably the safest place to be for him.
Well, I'm not so sure with that motorcycle. It hampered him on another corner there. Just he wanted to turn in, forced him wide. Not good work, I'm afraid, from that camera bike. They're usually highly experienced, especially those teams that will be assembled for Lombardia. I'm sure a few words, production-wise. Nonetheless, here we go. High speed it is, all one great big long line. I suggest, Brian, you'd want to be nearer the front than the back, because there's a lot of riders spread all over this mount.
I don't think a lot of these riders get the choice, because where you come over the top of this climb, you never get much of a respite, and straight onto this this descent, and it's a very tricky descent. We're already kind of mentioned this, but you still have 3 or 4 teams willing to chase Alaphilippe down, and I know they have Dan Martin sitting behind, so Astana, Sky, Movistar and AG2R are towards the front of the main peloton here of about what, 30 riders now, because I noticed that a few riders chipped across on the descent that were dropped on the ascent. But Alaphilippe, he's committed, then he's not committed, he's committed, and I think he's still 50-50 what he wants to do.
Should be committed. This is fabulously crazy. That's what we love about him. It's part of the showman in him, which I was alluding to earlier on. Confused Brian, we'll sort him out. Tightens up the boots, he means it. This is locked down for action.
I'm still undecided on Julian Alaphilippe if he's going to give 100% here, because we do come back into the bottom and of this descent, and it'll be very difficult to keep this chasing group at bay, because you've got to remember that for their team leader, their job will finish as soon as they turn right again up this climb. So there'll be a lot of riders in this group behind that will ride Alaphilippe down, and if they do, then will Alaphilippe have the same legs he had the last time up that climb? I don't think he will have. So it's a big ask. I know we keep on saying that Dan Martin is in this group, and while Dan's here, they still get options. But from what I see, if Alaphilippe just rolls along here, probably gives 75-80%, does get caught in the run and saves that bit of energy, that explosiveness he's just shown could win him this race today.
Let's see. 11.8 kilometers to go, so we're nearly at the foot. You'll recognize it because it's the same turn in, just coming past all the Bougainvillea, and now of course looking a little bit sad Wisteria, as he picks a cleanish line through what is a moderately broken road surface. Roads in Italy not exactly the finest, good highways, but when it comes to country roads, not so. This camera's all over him, I'm afraid. Could probably would be a great distraction to just about anybody, I think. Alaphilippe's kept his temper, however, and right now he needs to use that aggression on the climb. 11.2 to go. Haven't got a gap, unfortunately, back to everybody else. Brian will do his stopwatch for you in a few moments' time on one of the turns, but he's still got an advantage here, Brian. Finally, 18 seconds, that's not bad.
Yeah, I was going to guess it was about 20 seconds. He's just asking what the time gap is now.
17.
Were you? Maybe 19.5. But he's just asked for the time gap, and I think he'll make the choice now. So he's just been told the time gap by the referee now. So I don't think it's enough, and we come off this climb onto the main road again. The riders behind are really going to chase him down.
I think that's what the shake of the head was. I think you're absolutely right, Brian. I think he was hoping it was going to come back at 35 seconds. This is a flat approach back to the climb, and he says, "Come on, get in front of me if you wouldn't mind." That's what that was. Great. Alaphilippe then tries to tuck in with the camera bike, who's wise to it, refused that request. Great stuff. Will they catch him? We'll find out. 19 seconds is the gap. Just over 10 Ks then until we cross the line. Will it be Alaphilippe? He's got a 19-second advantage. How much did he put back in the legs on the descent? And what will he invest when it comes to the climb? He's got a big problem, and that is there's some very big guns who are starting to chase him down now. And Luis Leon Sanchez, well, he'd possibly be thinking about victory himself if he hadn't got to look after others, including Fabio Aru. Just having a look through this group, and there is Aru, just seated in front of the Villa Triestina. Who's it for them? Martinez for Villa?
Yes. Daniel or Dan Martinez would be for them. But you can just see that Lewis Lee and Sanchez, when they're on Sunday in one of the town races, riding out the front, 20 seconds is not enough with so much firepower behind. And that's the problem you've got when you come onto that descent onto the main road again. You can just see Iran just sitting there nice and easy, Moscon next to him with Team Sky. Well, Alaphilippe, if he goes full gas, he gets to the bottom of the climb with 4.9 to go. And obviously he's wasted a lot of energy. From what I've seen, Alaphilippe can win this race, but if he gives it 100% in the effort on this part of the course, then he's going to pay for it later on.
Well, he's eased up. I say that. He's still very much engaged. It was 19 seconds. It's been cut down to 11, so it's hardly he that's eased up. But these guys who are chasing into it, Luis Leon Sanchez is doing a spectacular job. This is great to see Anacona and Quintana paired up again. I think Nero would like to go out with a flourish at the end of this season. If you can't do Lombardia, this is a great chance to do so. So last couple of little rolling roads as we get down towards the Po River, and then we take our kick. 8 seconds only for Alaphilippe. Is this all a brilliant softening up that he's done for Duploux and Dan Martin? I'm not sure Duploux is up there, but Dan Martin most certainly is. 8.4 kilometres to go. We're nearly there.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Quintana and the fact that Movistar were trying to break this race up. I think, you know, well, from what I've seen so far, he's in a good position. He's been looked after. He's not gone on the attack. His team mates have, and I think it's he really wants to kind of soften everybody up. And Quintana is a real outsider for this one, but he does look motivated that he wants to try something on this climb.
Alaphilippe's engaged in a bit of Pilates, as you can see, and that's him, I believe, for today. He put in a lot of effort there, and now he's about to get caught. Here we are then. So, Astana today for Aru? Not sure. Big grin there from Luis Leon Sanchez. Sails by the camera, I think, was giving him a thumbs up. Pelo Bilbao is just on his back wheel here. This is a real charge into this incline. Villamoz and Latour for AG Tour Le Mondial. All questions answered in 7.7 kilometres time. This is going to be dramatic. Look at this line out due to the force. Interesting. There's Alaphilippe having a brief chat with Dan Martin. Attack points. Has he got something left? Just sits in front of Dan Martin. Said, come on, I'll lead you up. I'll sacrifice myself into this incline. This is great stuff.
It was, you know, a really nice attack there, but when you attack like Alaphilippe, I've seen this happen with Philippe Gilbert in the past. He attacks with such force that no one can go with him. Sometimes easier to attack at 90% and try and take riders with you. But I don't think there's any way that Alaphilippe was going to stay away from the main peloton now. So it's all together. There's about 30 riders now in contention. You can just see Pino is there with a couple of teammates, but this is a man that could surprise.
Yeah, I think so. Well, Poles, who's on stellar form, he looks to be leading out Gianni Moscon, by the way, who's had a bit of a troubled time of late. Accusations flying about crashes and the like and his involvement in them, which he's denied all knowledge. But nonetheless, the young Italian who did such amazing work as a super domestique for Chris Froome. I use that title. It's normally only attributed to potential Grand Tour winners who work for others. But Gianni Moscon was absolutely brilliant for Chris Froome in the Vuelta. And Froome first to acknowledge the youngster. He can go quickly, can also go up inclines. Is he explosive enough? Not sure. I'd have thought Wout Poels was the better choice. There is Moscon, sorry, Wout Poels, I should say, just sitting in front here of Steven Kruijswijk. Moscon is, well, has he started to move up? Alaphilippe is now guiding Dan Martin right at the bottom of your screen. You'll just see them dipping out behind the Trek riders. But at the moment, Quintana, he doesn't really put himself into a position such as this unless he means business, and he clearly does. I
think that's what he wanted, and I think that's what Movistar wanted, to make it a little bit difficult towards the end, have a smaller group. And Winner Anacona has got him right up there towards the front, but there's so many other talented climbers in this front group. We'll try and pick them out for you as we start to kind of look behind, but still Dan Martin is there. Whether they decide to look after themselves, but you can just see Alaphilippe, he's looking behind. It does look as if he's trying to look after Dan Martin, but Dan done a very good a bit of work for him trying to tag that group back. So it all depends on how Dan's feeling, because I still think that Alaphilippe has got something left in the tank.
David Godot looks like the man that Thibaut Pinot is going to look after here today. He's at the back of that little line of bleu, blanc et rouge for Francis Desjeux, and it's Thibaut Pinot that's doing much of the work. Viemos, but the eyes drift to Rigoberto Urán, possibly one of the favourites for Lombardia. Will he turn a podium into a victory today, the man in green? 5 kilometres to go, so many options still to hand, and it's getting extraordinarily busy. No surprise, they're just about to make the turn, and this is the climb that's going to decide it, Brian.
It is, they're on to it now, and a good job by Luis Leon Sanchez. When we come off that climb, he went straight to the front, and he's been the only rider that has been riding the last 4 or 5 kilometres on the main roads back into this climb. A very good win he had on a Sunday by virtue of a late attack, but just look to see who's popped up there in 3rd place. It's your man Alaphilippe.
It is. He's going to go again. I believe this is for Dan Martin. He's just out of camera shot at the moment, but he's coming. Luis Leon Sanchez is there. No sign of Alaphilippe. There he is, just on the wheel, waiting to see him go past Bilbao. Not yet is the answer, and here comes the big softening up for Francis Desjeux. Not for Pinot. This is for Godot.
Yeah, well, it's Godot is actually on the attack now. He's attacking right at the bottom of the climb. Luis Leon Sanchez's job is over. He's done a terrific job so far. Bilbao now takes it up, and it's not often you see the early attacks succeed, and last year was testament to that, because it was actually Michael Woods that attacked near the bottom of the climb. I thought at one point he had it, but Lopez brought him back, and you know, he brought him back inside the last 500 metres. But a good attack here from the Francis Desjeux man.
It's Rudy Mollard that's gone off for David Godot, I believe, a little bit further back. 4.2 kilometres then until we get to the top. It's Dan Martin just rocking and rolling ever so slightly. Wow. Cards to play. That's what you need at a moment such as this, and Francis Desjeux are doing it.
They definitely have got some numbers there,
yep.
And
3.
You know, they're you know, trying as hard as they can. And Movistar, with the riders that on the penultimate climb were on the attack. Now they've got Mollard for Francis Desjeux having a crack here, but it's a real interesting one to see who's going to take it up. Here
comes Aru. He's going over the left-hand side of the road. This is a big pickup by him. Who's going to get on his back wheel? Almost instantaneously. It's some of our minor players here, but Giovanni Visconti will not think of himself as certainly as one of those. Likewise, Bernal, I think it is, that's just digging in for Androni Zajdamek. As you can see, Aru. Well, he went long in the Italian Championships. He's going to have to go very, very long today. This is to wind in Rudy Mollard, but that's allowing off the leash Pinot, who hasn't responded just yet. They're going to have to do something if they're going to catch guys like this. Quality will out. That's precisely what we're seeing right now, and that is the end of Rudy Mollard. The softening up exercise has been complete. Likewise for Diego Rosa, who did so much of the early work on behalf of Team Sky. Finds himself back here, and is that Dan Martin just in front of the cars? I'm afraid it may well be. Gosh, well, he's bedded back in, has Rudy Mollard, and bridging over to him, I believe, is David Godot. Let's have a look, and he's bringing over Rigoberto Urán, finished 3rd last year. Here we go. Yeah, nice attack there for Aru, but nobody willing to work with him. Still with 3.7 to go. Bernal is there in the red in the 2nd place, but interesting now to see that Godot has moved up there with Mollard, and as soon as that happens, you see an attack from AG2R rider. Yeah, they do. David Godot is on his case at the moment. This is Mikkel Scherel just pushing out. Pinot decides that he may well offer up a little bit of more resistance from Francis Desjeux as well. Lots of rolling attacks. It favours the brave. Also, I'm afraid it finds out those who have something missing. And Rigoberto Urán, who did all the duties last year for his teammate Woods, is going to have some fun, I believe, himself, but he's going to have to go and be brave. He did an awful lot of work almost on behalf of others. That is Egan Bernal just behind. He was the one that crashed with Chavez, don't forget, at the Della Miglia. He's the man who's off to Sky next year. Well, can he hit the heights lights right now. Here he is. He's in the red and he's just marking out, as you can see. Rudy Molnar is still playing cat and mouse. There's David Godot. Godot just decides to follow around. Aru trying to stay in touch as well in the Italian tricolour, but they're letting this man off the leash with 3.2 to go.
Well, they said at Breeze Conference, and after the win in Trevally Varecine with the Genias, Chirel is on the attack here. Still a long way to go, 3.1 kilometres, but this look as if it's left up to Francais de Jeu to try and chase this down, but it's Aru that went on the attack. Now he's been distanced by Uran and Godot.
Yeah, it's Egan Bernal of Androni Zydemek. Good signing for Team Sky, who just beds in, possibly carrying a bit of injuries. And it's Uran and Godot that are going here. Uran just underneath the bridge, and it's getting cagey between these two. You just feel that Rigoberto Uran has refound himself of late. This season has been remarkable for this man, and he still looks well and truly in control. And as we say it, jumping into our mouths goes David Godot. Either of these two could win it. Not sure whether Mikkel Chirel will be one of those as well, as Aru just bridges over to him. Uran is the favourite, I reckon, at a moment such as this, but you can't count out Godot, even though he's been forced to do the duty at the moment. You feel like Uran's got something left. He's checking over his shoulders. He's looking at the gaps. He sees 2.8 kilometres or knows instinctively that's it. And here he goes. Had to be. He was waiting to impose himself, and now he's doing exactly that. Rigoberto Uran has gone here, and I think this is a winning move.
Yeah, he was testing Godot. He moved over and forced him to do a turn at the front, and Godot accepted, but Uran third last year, really wants to win this race. Big confidence booster up towards the Io Lombardi and Tour of Lombardy on Saturday, and you know, he looks as if he's riding really strongly now.
Right up in the Tour de France, he wants to take that extra step forwards, and today it's all part of the process. Well, Fabio Aru, they decided to let Miguel Angel Lopez, defending champion, off on a holiday early. Quintana just starting to labour here as well. Time to spin up, show your hand, and why not the likes of Mascon would like a good result. But it looks like it's going to be Colombia. After Miguel Angel Lopez, Rigoberto Uran has flown the coop. The question is, on the inclines that we have here, he's very difficult to wind back in. Is that Yates?
Tell you what, Adam Yates is coming up here for Orica Scott. He's just about to join Godot and Aru, so leaving it late. I don't think they're going to be able to catch Uran, because Uran looks super strong.
He does, but great to see Adam Yates as well, reigniting here, and there is Aru just grinding with David Godot. It's never pretty, I'm afraid, with Aru, and Godot knows that I think potentially he's been found out here by a glorious on-form Rigoberto Uran. He'll carry that form to Lombardia, and don't strike him out from your favourites lists at all. The fact that he's had to put in some effort today, he's hit himself beautifully. It's been a cagey game for Rigoberto Uran. He worked so hard for Michael Woods last year. When Woods faded and wasn't going to win it, he then allowed himself to go, but crawled back to third place on the podium, a race he could have won already. This one, it looks like he's going to win it today. 2.1 to go. Yeah,
very much looks like he's the strongest rider at the moment. Adam Yates now makes the junction to Godot and the Italian champion Aru at the front, but further attacks down shows Nairo Quintana trying to follow. I think it's Thibaut Pinot. Thibaut Pinot showed some really good form a couple of days ago, but you know, starting to struggle a little bit in this climb.
1900 metres from home, some huge names all over this mountain, and today none bigger than this man, Rigoberto Uran. Let's have a look here. Is there a little bit of a coming together? Yeah, is the answer. David Godot just goes around Rigoberto Uran. Not quite sure what all that was. Sorry, what goes around Fabio Aru. Not quite sure what that was about. But there you go. Clearly slightly disturbed. There's Uran up the road. Almost looks unkind, almost tortuous that he's so close at hand. But this is a country mile as far as these guys are concerned. They're arguing over work rate.
Yeah, that's all it was. You know, they're starting to feel the effects of this climb. Adam Yates has come across to the two riders. You know, the group are not that far behind, but Adam Yates, I think, looking to try and podium here.
Yeah, I think so, and I think he's probably got a very good option of doing exactly that. Aru looks like the man who's getting annoyed with the passengers. Adam Yates goes over to the left-hand side of the road, adds a bit of impetus, and the subject of the annoyance, I'm afraid, for the hammer that is Aru is the anvil of David Godot at the moment. Meanwhile, up front, Rigoberto Urán is stretching his legs and having fun, setting a nice tempo. Adam Yates just to drift away from the arguing Aru and indeed Godot. And I think this may well look like runners-up spot at worst. You never know. Something startling might happen on the last incline. Happened last year when Woods faded.
It did indeed. He really faded over the last part of the climb, and Urán digging in. He's looking behind. He's starting to feel the pain of this climb now, and starting to grimace a little bit, but he does look super strong. Adam Yates just got his breath back a little bit when he went across to Godot and Aru, and decided that he doesn't want to be, you know, involved with the shenanigans between the both, and decided to continue on with the effort.
It's a much underused word, shenanigans. But as you can see, Aru is going to form a fighting force, I believe, with Adam Yates, and cameras loving him for that, like the bike actually. Very, very pleasant colour scheme. Meanwhile, it's all about green up front, going into the red. He's got a margin of 30 seconds, 1.2 to go. Surely this is a question of Rigoberto Urán tempoing home. It's a race that was denied him last year, and he's coming good this time by. And there is the gap between Yates and Aru. It's a punishing incline, this. 14% hits along the way. And but Rigoberto Urán is just about to come to an area of respite where it comes down to about 8%. Still tough. There's a Basilica up here to go and offer up your thanks. There is the Flamme Rouge for him, and he will take a left-hand turn in about 500 meters that will bring him to the line.
Yeah, he looked super strong over the last few Italian races, and this race really suits him. He was third last year, as you've already mentioned, and he just waited and waited and waited, and his team looked after him. Adam Yates is not giving up yet. He's looking behind. He wants to try and make sure he gets on the podium, but he's not that far behind Urán. But Urán does look exceptionally strong. Just a pity Alaphilippe went the penultimate climb, and wasn't here, because I think he could have been a feature. But that big attack and the rides down the descents, he kept it going, and unfortunately he's not involved with the race now for the podium.
Has he got a flat? I'm just looking at the has he got a slow puncture on the back wheel here? We've seen Urán, of course, spectacularly have gear mech problems, where he denied Warren Barguil at the line during the Tour de France. Had all of the debris taken out of that, had to choose a gear for a sprint from a mechanic who was hanging out of the window. There's the turn that Urán has just taken, and he'll take this on right now. I've got a feeling his back wheel's going down. If it is, then Adam Yates has got himself a golden opportunity here.
Yeah, no, I think they were just showing the gearing he was in, and Adam Yates turns around the corner, but you can just see that Urán is starting to grimace a little bit. This is going to really push Urán all the way, because Adam Yates is slowly coming back, but I don't think he's going to have enough road left.
Quintana and just rejoining the fun, as you can see, and it's David Godot that he's managed to catch up with. Rigoberto Urán powering it home. Yeah, it just looked like a strange profile to that tyre to me, but he's clearly still rolling. But then again, he's rolled through mechanical problems in the past. There's Adam Yates, and here is the man who's got to finish the job right now. It's closing.
Yeah, it's pushing him all the way. Urán has to dig deep now, because Adam Yates is coming ever so slowly to him.
So's Aru. He wants a piece of the day too, in that lipstick red and chrome machine. He's got 300 meters then. This is not all over. We thought it might be. We've had this race has thrown up some great surprises in the past. You could fade on this incline, and right now Rigoberto Urán, can he possibly bring it home? He really is starting to struggle here. 200 meters to go, and Adam Yates is making a real contest of this. Adam Yates tempoing. You can see the man. It's the hare versus the hound at the moment, and here is Urán. Can he possibly hold on? I think he might just Last little kick up to the Basilica, into the crowd right now. 50 metres to go. It is going to be Rigoberto Urán with Adam Yates making a proper contest of this. Urán takes it. Good for him, turning third place last year into victory this time by. All credit to Adam Yates as well for keeping that contest alive until the very last. Just eases across the line with the runners-up spot. 9 seconds really doesn't do him justice as he just eased up towards the end, knowing he couldn't catch. And here comes Aru as well, making the podium today, bringing the Italian tricolour across the line. And Nairo Quintana, why not? Thibaut Pinot, the great names will out. But it's all about minor places now as they just clock across the line. Great victory, though, for Rigoberto Urán. Well earned. Good race plan.
Yeah, it was a good little finish. We thought a couple of kilometres ago that Urán had it quite easy, but Adam Yates had other thoughts, came up to Aru and Godot, got his breath back. They started messing around a little bit, and he decided to go on alone. Dan Martin just finishing there, and a good effort towards the end, but has to settle for a nice second place. Urán looks as if he's in really good form. Aru gets another third place like he did a couple of years ago. Shake of the head by Visconti there as he finishes just over a minute down. So yeah, a really nice finish to the race, but you have to say that Urán does look super strong.
He certainly does. And here he is, Mr. Cool. He's a bit more of an open book than many riders, and he starts to get slightly agitated in a positive way just before he goes on the attack. We saw that today. It was telegraphed to just about everybody, but knowing he's going to go is one thing. Being able to do something to stop him is entirely another. But Rigoberto Urán has taken a great victory here in the Milan-Turin. Don't forget, we will, of course, have Lombardia coming up for you. It's a busy old time, Brian.
It is. I like these Italian races, and you know, they ride them very aggressively. We've already seen that. One attack by Alaphilippe, the penultimate time up this climb, and okay, he wasn't able to use any of that kind of energy the second time round, but a good finish, and Urán gets his win at last.
Yep, heads to the Basilica, and strangely the door looks open. Rigoberto Urán takes the day by a margin of 10 seconds. Official results of Adam Yates, Fabio Aru, Nairo Quintana and David Godot it was. Well, Poles, Martinez, good effort from him for Willier. Thibaut Pinot 8th ahead of Pierre-Roger Latour, and Peter Stettiner rounding out your top 10. Well, Lombardia looms, and so does the shadow from the diminutive Rigoberto Urán. He's on great form.
He is. He's already showed that over the last few weeks, and eventually he gets his win. He's been there and thereabouts, and you know, a very strong rider. Surprised everybody, as you said, at the Tour de France this year, and you know, rightly so. He was one of the stronger riders in the finale there. Get looked after by his team. Adam Yates rode strongly. He probably rode one of the strongest climbs there, the last 4.9. But he was just up against, you know, a man that's is coming to really good form, looking to be one of the favourites for this weekend, and just held on. But you can just see that the expression on Urán's face, yeah, a punch to the air, but he was pushed by Adam Yates there, and he really knows that. Also nice to see Nairo Quintana up there in 4th place. And David Godot, one of the next French hopes, up there in the top 5 as well. Well,
France have hopes for this weekend as well. Be interesting to see how we stack up. Lombardia and Paris Tour. Gosh, it's a feast for you guys. All gets underway. Tour of Lombardia it is.